This is Get Real with Bob and Stacey, the show that helps you learn about the mortgage and real estate markets. Get the inside scoop from their expert list of guests and have some fun along the way. Now, here's Bob Gallagher and Stacey Alcorn.
Welcome back. You're listening to Get Real with Bob and Stacey, and you're joining us for our Leaders and Legends segment. Our guest is Natalie Cabinda, author, educator, and speaker. Welcome to the show, Natalie.
Thank you, Bob.
So I want to give everybody some background on Natalie. First of all, she wrote a book called Regroup, Refocus, Rebuild, helping families navigate from breakups to breakthroughs, where she shares tips and strategies that helped her rise from her own breakup and embark on a breakthrough path. So, Natalie, I'm going to first have you talk about your story because I was reading through your bio, and it starts from moving here from Cameroon in 1994 and kind of the struggle that you experienced after moving here. Tell us what your story is about.
Well, I wrote my book, Regroup, Refocus, Rebuild, after my divorce in 2005. It was a challenging period for me. I had to raise 3 children. I was unemployed at the time of the divorce. I had to work 2 or 3 jobs in order to make ends meet. So my story is basically trying to teach mothers how to rebuild after a difficult circumstance like a divorce. That is mainly what my story is about.
Okay, because just reading your story, and I know that you went through a lot of struggle, having no job at the time and having kids, I think a lot of people find themselves in situations where they stick with a bad situation because they think there's no options. So what was the first step you took day after you know that this is going to be final, that you're not moving forward with your husband, and now you have these kids to raise? What's the first step that you took in your own life?
Well, Stacey, over the years, I have not only taught children from broken homes. Mm-hmm. As you mentioned, I was also struggling to raise my own kids who now had only a single parent. So the first step was to regroup.
Right.
I had to sit down and make a plan on how to move forward. That is the very first step. Divorced parents typically face many challenges. But the greatest challenge is to make sure that the children do not fall through the cracks despite the divorce. So my plan was to decide what exactly I wanted to do. Where exactly would I like to see my kids? Mm-hmm. What schools? I had to have that vision of the future, not just for me, but also for my kids. So I sat down and I made a plan. And my plan included reviewing my finances, because there were many challenges after the divorce, and I mean financial challenges. Because now, all of a sudden, I was alone. I had to find a way to pay my bills. I had to find a way to make sure that the children were fed. So, yes, I had to make a plan, set specific goals, and then went about achieving those goals.
Okay.
So step 1 was to make a plan.
Okay, so we start with the plan. And it sounds simple when you talk about it, but when you have all of this emotional stress and the stress of having to figure out where your income's coming and what your kids are thinking and making sure that they're okay, I can't even imagine the amount of stress and how you coped through that. But do you have any strategies for handling such post-divorce issues beyond just having a plan?
Actually, as you mentioned, post-divorce comes with a lot of struggles and a lot of challenges and stress as well. And most divorce hurdles involve disputes over the divorce settlement. And if some of your listeners can hear me, I see them nodding their heads in agreement. The first step is to identify the issues as they may be as varied as there are divorce cases. Mm-hmm. Whatever the issue, the number 1 strategy is to have an open, positive communication with an ex-spouse or partner.
Yep.
Stacey, if there is no communication, no issues will be resolved, and that will lead to more stress. Mm-hmm. Now, such communication makes it easy to agree or even disagree on issues in a manner that, is devoid of anger or disdain. Positive communication is especially important, too, when kids are involved. The reverse is very damaging to them. The other issue requiring a good strategy is stress management. Stress is a huge problem, not just for divorce, even for people in general. If somebody loses a job, they may feel stressed. If somebody loses someone in the family, they may feel stressed. So stress management is extremely important in general. But for divorce, the first step in managing stress is to identify the stressors. What is it after the divorce that is causing this stress? Then set an action plan and take appropriate steps towards preventing prolonged stress. Because if a mother is stressed, the children will be stressed. And if the children are stressed, they will be unproductive in schools. They will not make as much progress as parents would have liked to see them make in schools.
Okay.
So, I discussed stress-related strategies lengthily on pages 71 to 73 of my book.
Okay, so you just talked about how important communication is, and you said you have to have open dialogue, open communication with your ex-partner, and that you have to remove emotion. But that's easier said than done, because I know that there's a handful of people that I don't like in the world, and when I deal with those people, just in having to deal with those people, it comes with emotion. So how do you separate that when you're in a contentious situation, you don't like the person, you don't like what's been done to you, but now you have to remove emotion in order to communicate? Well,
I can tell you that one way to remove emotion is to start by exercising. Remember, it's about the mindset.
Right.
When you exercise, when you focus your mind on the positive, when you decide the benefits of being positive as opposed to the negative effects of disagreement, then you have your mind set on that positive place where you think positive. If you think positive, you will speak positive.
Yes.
And when you speak positive, whoever is listening will listen to you. That's just the way it is. Have a positive mindset in order to start any positive communication. And I know, like you said, it's very challenging.
Right.
And sometimes couples may need a little outside, external help, maybe from a counseling session. But whatever the situation, both couples need to make an extreme effort to have a positive mindset. If you believe that this communication is going to end in something positive, you will get into that communication with the right mindset.
That's great. So going back to the kids, how does a parent raise kids that end up being socially, academically, they have all their stuff together, even though they have to live through the divorce?
Excellent question. As I mentioned earlier, children from divorced parents are more likely to fall through the academic cracks because, number one, they are just as stressed by the divorce and traumatized even as the parents may be. First step is to make sure that the kids receive some kind of counseling. Counseling is important, especially for kids of a certain age group. Teenagers, for example, need counseling. Because if teenagers do not receive counseling, you will find them acting out. You will find them getting involved with other kids that they should not be involved with. And you'll find them skipping school sometimes. I teach high school, so I see kids with these problems on a daily basis. So counseling is important to get the children back into the right mindset where they can focus on academic work and begin to take baby steps to put the divorce behind them. So divorced parents typically face many challenges, but the greatest challenge is making sure that these children do not fall through the cracks. Pay attention to what skills, what talents, what interests the children already possess. And my book provides many strategies, but the two top would be to set family time, to constantly monitor the child's progress, schedule meetings with teachers and school counselors to address any academic matters that may be related to either performance or the morale of the children. Family time allows the parents to check in with the child and catch issues before they escalate. And school counselors are extremely good, too, at talking through with your kids. Because sometimes kids may not want to open up with the parent. And most of the time, it's because they already see the pain that the parent is going through, and they feel like if they share their issues with the parent, they will aggravate the issues that the parent already has.
Yep.
So this is where school counselors come in, and they make a big difference because the counselors can talk to your children and make sure they don't fall through the academic cracks.
Okay.
So that's how we arrest high academic achievers despite the divorce.
Okay.
Communication, yes.
So let's go back to the parent that's going through the divorce. How do they end up surviving a divorce emotionally, financially, and socially?
I guess the first step is that action plan that I discussed before. In order to survive a divorce emotionally, a parent going through a divorce needs a support system. That's the first step. A support system can be that entourage, positive entourage can be friends that are supportive, families, relatives that are supportive, people that she can go to for guidance, and also just to cry for relief. And it's okay to cry when you feel sad. So the first step is that family support, or that support entourage that she needs in order to begin to rebuild. Now, she needs to make every effort to stay away from negativity. Because negativity is a setback. Whenever people think negatively, it takes them 2 or 3 steps back. So she has to make sure that her mind is set in a positive way. The divorce has already happened. The first step is put the divorce behind you and start thinking of how to move forward from the divorce. So she needs to have a positive mindset. She needs to have that go-getter attitude. Financially, she needs to work. I had to work 2 or 3 jobs, but I did it with a positive mindset that said, this was my time. This is me trying to move forward. This is me trying to chase the dream that I had put in the back burner because I was married and raising children. Now is my time to review those dreams, to think of the vision that I had for myself and to pursue it. To do that, a mother needs a positive mindset.
Okay, that's awesome. All goes back to communicating, an action plan, positive mindset. I do have one more question, but before I get there, where can people find out more about you and your speaking, your books, etc.?
I am available on social media. I have a website, Regroup, Refocus, Rebuild.com. I'm on Twitter. I am also on Amazon.com. My book is available on Amazon.com and is available on my website as well. All information for speaking can be found also on my website.
Okay. So for anybody that's tuning in right now, this is Natalie Cabinda, and you can find her at Regroup, Refocus, Rebuild, which is the name of her book as well. Regroup, Refocus, Rebuild.com, or you can find her on Facebook, Facebook.com/Regroup, Refocus, Rebuild, or at Twitter at Cabinda Natalie. So last question is, what are you working on next? Now that you've helped so many people getting past their divorce issues, what are your future plans and projects?
I am working on speaking engagements. I have speaking engagements coming up. I have workshop presentations coming up. And I'm also working on a TV show. I've been scheduled for a TV show, a community TV show that's also coming up. But my next book also is getting ready to be published. It's a memoir. Still it's in the process of editing right now. So these are the projects that I have set up for the future.
That's awesome.
Excellent.
Yes. Yes.
So thanks for joining us on the show today, Natalie.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Okay, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be back with more Get Real after this.